everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Smile Code. I'm your host, Dr. Esi Quaidoo, and I'm more than delighted that you're here once more, spending some time with me. The topic of discussion today is surrender and miracles, when letting go changes everything. Imagine this. You're trapped at the bottom of the sea, some 300 feet down, in total darkness. Your oxygen line has snapped, and your last breath is slipping away. And then, against all odds, you're rescued. That's not fiction. That's last breath, the true story of a diver whose miracle came only after surrender. Now hold that image, because today we're exploring a truth that's uncomfortable, yet liberating. Miracles happen when we surrender. Not when we fight harder, not when we grasp tighter, but when we let go. Most of us think surrender means failure. We think it means giving up. But surrender is not quitting. Surrender is trusting. It's opening the clenched fist so life can place something miraculous in our hands. Now, I've spoken with a woman who carried the heartbreak of infertility for years. They tried everything. Every pill, every shot, every ritual, and yet nothing happened. Until the moment they surrendered. What happened next will astonish you. The diver Chris Lemons was cut off from his oxygen supply, stranded in pitch blackness. At that depth, divers have less than 5 minutes before their bodies shut down. Now, up on the ship, chaos erupted, as you can imagine. The crew could see his lifeline had snapped. His oxygen umbilical was gone. They knew the truth. They knew the math. They knew he couldn't survive. And so panic rose, not just in him, but in them. Alarms blared, men shouted, the captain barked orders, but the North Sea currents were violent. The storm was uncontrollable, delaying every attempt to bring the ship closer to Chris. Imagine the agony, knowing your friend, your brother in arms, is down there in total darkness. And every minute counts, every second counts. And time is running out. Imagine that. Then came the silence. His comms went dead. His lights, Chris's lights, vanished. They assumed he was gone. And yet, 36 minutes later, they found him. Here's what struck me most. Chris said the panic left him. He surrendered. And in that surrender, an impossible rescue unfolded. Scientists still cannot fully explain it. Was it chance? What happened? Or was it a miracle born from letting go? One lady friend of mine told me the month I stopped charting every day, the month I said to God, I release this, I can't carry this anymore, that was the month I conceived. Her baby is 5 years old today. Science calls it relaxation. She calls it grace. And I've heard this over and over and over again. And in my own personal life, there was a time when I had a practice in Seattle, and I had thoughts of selling. And I was trying every possible avenue to find a seller. To find a buyer for my practice. And they say when you're thinking of selling your business, it's best not to let your employees know, because some of them can jump ship and just throw everything up into a loop. So I was keeping it very quiet, and just trying so hard to work behind the scenes to find a buyer for my practice. And I remember one day, after several months, one day I just threw my hands up in the air and I said, I let go and I let God. I went to the office, and I wasn't even planning on doing this, but I called my staff and I said, listen, I've come to the point where I feel I need to let go. It's time for me to step aside and let in someone new. And can you believe the one of my assistants on that day raised up her hand and said, there's a doctor down the street who I know is looking to buy in a practice. Would you like me to contact him or have him contact you? And I said, of course. And that very day, my assistant reached out to this doctor. The doctor called me, and a few short weeks later, my practice was sold. Talk about releasing. Talk about surrender. So these types of stories are so many stories like this. The business owner who gave up the chase for funding, and the right investor just showing up just at that moment. The man who stopped obsessing over healing and woke up pain-free. Maybe it's your relationship. Maybe it's your health. Maybe it's the dream you've been holding so tightly that it cannot breathe. Nathaniel Hawthorne once wrote, happiness is like a butterfly, which when pursued is always beyond our grasp, but if you will sit quietly, may alight upon you. Isn't that surrender? The butterfly doesn't come when we chase it. It comes when we pause. When we stop thrashing in the waters of striving or survival. When we release our desperate grip. That's when transformation happens. That's when miracles alight upon us, softly, subtly, like a butterfly. Miracles don't live in the clenched fist. They live in the open hand. Miracles don't happen when we force. but when we flow. And miracles live on the wings of surrender. Miracles live on the wings of surrender. Take a breath with me now. Inhale and exhale. Whisper these words: I release, I allow, I surrender. Do you feel how your body shifts when you say that? The diver at the bottom of the ocean, the mother cradling her long-awaited child, the butterfly that alights quietly when we stop chasing, the miracle that's waiting for you. They all whisper the same truth. Surrender is not giving up. It's giving in to the greater wisdom of life. So I leave you today with this question: what miracle is waiting on the other side of your surrender? Because sometimes the most powerful step forward is letting go. See you soon.